Hello, how are you? Having a good evening thus far? So I ask you before I begin speaking, who here today visited a website today? How about a few websites? How many of you are Googling right now? Somebody is painting a piece of fabric or a drape for their house or a recipe for tomorrow. It's okay if you are. So I'm a storyteller, and I'm here to tell you the story of the World Wide Web. More so, the women who created the very backbone of the websites and technologies you use today. The women you probably heard about, you're hearing more about with today's news, media, and things like glorious STEM that we have. But I want to give you a little bit more of an inkling into the momentum that's already been built for all of us. And quite frankly, the tools that are available today that we're not using because life is getting in the way. And to me, as a mom of two, it's unacceptable. So tonight, let's begin with Miss Ada Lovelace. Who in the world was Ada Lovelace? Well, I'll tell you. Her father was Lord Byron. Do we know who Lord Byron was? The writing village of Oak Park? Yes, indeed. So Ada's mother did not want her daughter Ada to follow in her father's footsteps, to write romance and poetry and frivolous things. No, she wanted her to go into something more substantial, like math. Now, Ada actually happened to like math quite a bit. She became a mathematician in the 19th century, and she studied under a man named Charles Babbage. Mr. Babbage created something called the analytical engine, a little scientific thing, the beginning of computing back in the day, and Ada took a lot of interest in this engine. So she took notes on it. How did it work? And she actually compared the way this engine worked in the way in which you would weave yarn in a loom. It fascinated her. To her, math and the creativity and art that she grew up with her father kind of intersected. So it kind of made sense to love this thing that she studied. Ada Lovelace became the first computer programmer ever. And she was a woman. In addition, the notes that Ada took to this analytical engine became the first what we call algorithm. Many of you probably have heard about the Facebook algorithm, the thing that changes your newsfeed every day. Well, girlfriend already made an algorithm back in the 1820s. So thank you, Ada. In addition to that, Google thought she was cool enough to make a Google Doodle for her during one of her birthdays. That was a huge deal. And also kudos to Google for making a Sally Ride Doodle the other day. Thank you, Sally Ride. Next up, we have this wonderful, huge machine called the ENIAC, which stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, circa World War II. Now you see some women at this computer. 6 mathematicians who all happen to be women worked on this motherlode, and it was a motherlode. It was a top secret motherlode whereby they couldn't tell anybody what they were doing. They were commissioned by our US government to put together computations and programs in this massive computer. And you know why? Because men didn't think that task was important. Hence, let the ladies do it. Well, thank you, gentlemen, because they made history. What did they do? They helped create programs that thus helped artilleries fire to the correct targets. They created hypotheses that thus put together the hydrogen bomb analytics behind it. It was all top secret. These ladies were living and sleeping this machine that didn't move. The people behind the machine, the men who invented the machine, gave them brandy. They took them out. They were so thankful for their efforts. Now, when I learned about these ladies, and being an old soul, I grew up in Metro Detroit, so I watched a lot of old movies with my grandmother. I remember seeing the ladies in the movies with the phone. KK5, 2544, that reminded me of these ladies. So the next time you watch an old movie and you think about the phone operators, think about the 6 mathematicians of ENIAC. But it didn't stop at World War II. Oh no, because then came along Grace Hopper. Grace Hopper is a rock star. I call her my Bottigliero when it comes to motivation for what I do. She was called the Queen of Software, and she was the Queen of Software. Let me tell you about Grace. She decided, as a math professor, I'm going to join the Navy. I'm going to join the Navy Reserve. Why the heck not? And she actually became a Rear Admiral and wore her uniform until the very end. Love this woman. And she was joined by some of the ladies from the ENIAC days. Now, before ENIAC, there was a machine called the Mark IV, and she worked on that at Harvard. So she knew programming, she knew code. And she thought to herself, okay, wait a second. Why can't we program things with words versus math? Why not? So Grace had this revelation. If people didn't like math or didn't want to program with math, why not words? So she thus created software, the very things that make your computers and the websites and your applications at work every day because of Grace. She also created something called COBOL, which is one of the first programming languages. So Grace, you're a rock star. I salute you too. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, we had Ada, these 6 rock star mathematicians with a top secret US project, and then we have Grace. What happened? Well, the good news is it's coming back. More of our daughters are coming back and helping keep this number together. But then this was going on. The fabulous, fabulous late Mr. Steve Jobs, thank you for everything. Also Bill Gates. In the late 70s, early 80s, you had this aggregation of stuff happening. We had movies like War Games with Matthew Broderick, the guy behind the computer, secret, private stuff going on. You also had Weird Science, these 2 geeky, smart guys and the hot alien babe that came down to do whatever they wanted. So we had these images of these kind of geeky scientific tinkering guys, in addition to what was going on in Palo Alto with men tinkering with computers behind the scenes and creating the personal computer, all happening at the same time. Around the same time, women who were mathematicians and wanting to enter computer science programs weren't as much. They also weren't seen as the norm. They also weren't seen as the fits for the next level of computer programmers. It's a fascinating time with what had happened. No one's at fault, per se. It's just multiple factors that came together. And we also have this awesome guy, Mark Zuckerberg. He's wearing a suit here, but Mark typically is known to wear a T-shirt and a hoodie. Mark is the founder of Facebook. Who used Facebook today? And I hope you went to the TEDxOakPark Facebook page. So this became the new face of the techie, the startup, the web developer. This is what we all expect to create the next big thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really the truth anymore. Things are changing. I'm here to tell you that things are changing. There are so many Chicago-based websites, especially, that are founded by women. Here's 2 of them. There's Give Forward, which is founded by Desiree Vargas, a mom, a fantastic crowdsourcing site to help people raise money for whatever they may need in their lives or families in need. Sittercity. Who's used Sittercity? Genevieve Thiers, rock star, also an opera singing CEO. She's fantastic. She was a babysitter in Boston, needed to figure out a way to put babysitters together with parents, and now it's expanded since. Other sites include Moxygene, a place where you can go online and trade and get great, really well-made but used clothes for your kids, all based in Chicago. Heidi Brown, the co-founder of Options Away, she's also based in Chicagoland. There are so many women that are creating websites today, but here's the little trick that you need to know and take this home with you. You don't need to learn how to code to make a website. It's not true. You don't need to learn how to code. I'll tell you 2 things. First, you can go to websites like Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, even Blogger, to make a website. Anything you want. Anything you want. There's templates you can just put together and bam, 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 boom, website. It's great. Just like that, poof. But if you want to learn how to code, which I definitely think you should do if you had the time, you can go to Starter League, Code Academy, Girls Who Code. There are tons of resources to help you do this. It's just about making the time to do so. So as you think about what's been in your idea, what do you want to solve in your neighborhood, your block? What are your neighbors talking about? Make a website. It's not that difficult to do. But you know what people forget? This, pen and paper. Everything starts with a doodle. Everything starts with writing things down. How many of you are so busy on a given day with your kids, your grandparents, your job, your block party, the next village hall meeting, the next farmer's market, but forget to put your ideas down on paper? Anyone? You know, Jerry Seinfeld is known and has been known to walk around with a notepad and a pen all the time. Because who knows when the next great joke comes along? Who knows when the next great idea you have come along and think, oh my God, that's it. You're shopping at Whole Foods and you're thinking, when you're getting the mango, oh my God, yes, that's exactly the answer to my problem. But you have no place to write it down. You might put it in your phone, but then it goes away. Start with a pen and paper. It's cheap and it's also easy. The ladies I mentioned earlier today actually did start that momentum. We talk about sustaining and moving forward. So I challenge all of you this summer to think about what's been in your mind, what excites you. Is it crocheting? Is it getting a national maternity plan across the country? What is it? Whatever it is, I challenge you all. What will you build today? Thank you very much.